Hi everybody, Mrs. Harris here. Today we're going to start our Square One art. Our I can statement is, I can use line to build unique patterns and shapes to create a balanced landscape. We're going to look at line first. It's a basic element of art. It's a tool that we use to make art with. We use the element of art, line, constantly in artwork. It's simply a dot that walks across your page. But once that line is closed, it becomes a shape. The shape can be filled with color. The shape can be filled with pattern. Now let's use our understanding of line and shape and apply those to pattern and balance. Those are principles of designs, and those are how we use the tools to make artwork. Pattern is the repeating of lines, objects, and symbols over and over. And balance is the distribution of weight of the objects and color. We want those elements inside of our artwork. When we're creating our landscapes, we need to think about all the parts and pieces. We're going to look at the three parts first: foreground, middle ground, and background. Foreground is the closest to you. It's what the viewer sees clearly. All the objects are clear. The objects are bigger. The middle ground, things become a little hazier. And the middle ground is in between the foreground and the background, which makes sense. That's why it's called middle ground. And then way in the back, it's called the background, and that's the furthest away from us. And everything is going to be smaller and duller in color and have less detail. Now we want to create that illusion of space on our paper. And we've done this before. And one of the great tricks is overlapping. Overlapping the shapes in the distance will create a sense of order. It will show you that shapes are closer and further away. The next one is placement. Objects that are further away will be placed higher on the horizon line. They will be stacked up. And the last one is size. Objects that are closer to you are going to be larger, and the ones that are further away are going to be smaller. Remember, less detail in those. Here are some examples of what your artwork might look like. I want you to note that the color has been added through watercolor, and we don't have access to that right now. So just use marker, colored pencils, or crayon and do your personal best. Note how the water is cool and the sun is more of a warm color. So try to do that when you're adding color. Don't forget to add simple pattern. I'm not looking for anything complex. I'm looking for a small amount of pattern within your image. Fifth grade, we are ready to start talking a little bit more seriously about your Square One art. Please remember that you will have to come up and pick up a piece of paper from the vestibule area. Hopefully once you've got that, you can start this. What you're going to notice right away is where it says top. Make sure that is the top of your idea, because when it is printed, this is where the top will be. Say you want to get this on a t-shirt, and if you draw it this way, it's going to be on your t-shirt sideways. So again, this is your Square One art, fifth grade. You've only got 2 more years to do this. Do your personal best for me. Don't worry about filling this out. I have stickers I can put on there. You can write your name on the back. If you fill it out, that's fine. I want you to remember, because we are kind of quarantine lockdown, adding color is going to be whatever you have available. I'm going to use colored pencils, but you can use markers. These are something that I absolutely love. These color sticks, these are amazing. Basically what it is, it's the inside of the colored pencil, but it's not in the wooden shaft, and it lasts a lot longer. And then of course, good old fashioned crayons. Crayons will work fine. You can mix your medium, it's your choice. The last assignment we did was the fish name, and if you remember, we kind of outlined with the heavy marker, and then we went in with a lighter color. You can also do that. So basically what we're going to be doing is creating a landscape, and our focus is foreground, middle ground, and background. And I'm working on one right here. And you can see I'm doing a lot of work on the foreground. Now, I am totally struggling with these waves, because when I look at them, I'm thinking, okay, I can't figure it out. But what I'm learning is if I start with a curly, and some of my friends have trouble with a curly, but think about the letter E, lowercase e that just continues, make it closed, and then continue your wave. You can bring a piece right here. You can have some more continuing and continuing, and then down here might be where your water comes in, or even the land. So again, make it look like it's together. That's what I've done here. I've made my E and continued it. Like I said, I was personally struggling with this. So this would be considered my foreground. Next thing I'm going to think about is the middle ground. And what I want there is I just want some hills. I don't want the mountains. I did the mountains in the last one, so I'm going to just go ahead and do some repetitive shapes, and I'm going to do this hill. I might do a hill that goes behind it. Remember, the illusion of overlapping creates that illusion of things further back in the distance. So I'm gonna do, maybe I will do one more, and I'm gonna have it come in a little bit different and end there. So I'm gonna now work on my background. And so I've got foreground, middle ground. In my background, I'm gonna do a sun, and I'm just gonna do a sun setting. I'll show you the first one that I did already. And I've got my sun setting. I'm gonna give it some sun rays. I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I'm gonna break them up into threes. 1, 2, 3. So now I've got my ideas. The next thing I need to do is I need to start to think about what kind of simple patterns can I put in. I'm not quite done with this one. I've got some dots. I've got something that kind of looks like a rainbow, just some lines, a nice pattern down here in the water. I need to do something within those flowers that I created, and I need to decide where my land's gonna start. I really haven't finished that. But, so I'm gonna work on this one a little bit. This takes time. This isn't anything you're gonna rush. Remember, Square One art should be your best work. All your work should really be your best work, but this is something that your parents might purchase and buy, or your grandparents. So I'm gonna start with a simple pattern. These patterns that we're gonna be adding are not to be super complex. They don't have to repeat. I don't have to do it every other one. You can see what I did here. I just did it in 2. I did the dots in 3. This isn't a repetitive. I don't want the whole thing filled with patterns. We just wanna create a nice visual, a kind of a texture. This I kind of feel like is a good mountain texture. I feel like this is a good water texture, nice fun sun ray texture. So again, we're taking our time. So I'm gonna continue on this for a little bit, and then I will come back. All right, I'm beginning to feel like I'm ready to start talking a little bit more about pattern. So when I look at this, I really like the way the water goes. I've got 3 waves, that's fine. I've got 3 lines up here. So I seem to be having this 3 pattern, so I might stick with that. I'm thinking I'm going to do some lines within my hills, and if you notice, I'm going with that 3 pattern again. I just feel like that's gonna work. Again, not asking you to do that. I'm just telling you it's something that I noticed in my artwork. So I'm gonna kind of go with that. So I'm gonna do some patterns, and then I'm gonna come right back. All right, once you feel like you've got it all done, I think I could still do a little bit more work up here, but I'd like to move on to the next step for you. I am going to ask you to go ahead and black marker everything, just like we always do in class. Once you're done with it, go ahead and erase it. Take your time, do your personal best, and now I'm gonna start to think about what I'm gonna do with my color. Now, again, Square One art, you want this to pop. I'm not gonna leave spaces white. The examples that I showed you, we cannot recreate again because I can't, it's done in watercolor. If you have watercolor at your home and you wanna do it, please, by all means, go right ahead. So I'm gonna pull some different blues out here for my water. And maybe even some purples. I'm gonna work with warm and cool colors, and I want you to do the same, and I want you to think about how you're gonna lay those colors out. I'm gonna do the cool colors in the water. I'm going to do the warm colors in the sun and maybe even the flowers, and I might do the cool colors in the mountains, because think about the rocks. What I've done here is kind of fun. This is a tree line. This is a silhouette of a tree line. So that's where my middle ground begins. And this would be our horizon line, just for those of you who know what I'm talking about. The horizon line where the sky and the earth meet, that would be right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get all these different blues, and I'm gonna begin to add color. Now, when we color, again, I'm gonna emphasize, it's not about coloring like this. It's about keeping it consistent. Start light and work your way into a heavier value if that's what you're looking for. Don't go too light, because if it's too light, it's not gonna be picked up by the camera when they photograph your artwork. You wanna do a really nice job with that. So, whoops. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start in here, and I am going to move the direction. And again, I shouldn't even be able to see the direction of my pencils. And I'm gonna, again, use those warm and cool values throughout the image. I'm gonna do this, and then I'll be right back. Last thing I want to remind you, when you are coloring things, we're not just doing a quick swipe over. We are taking our time and coloring each individual piece. Because you drew these patterns, I want you to take time. I would not color this mountain area all one color. I might give it a blue and a purple stripe, but not necessarily a pattern. I might do, you know, just an offset pattern. Take your time, add beautiful color to this, make it rich. Remember, this should be your personal best work because this is something that you're gonna get back as a sticker. You can see where I kind of missed a couple places and I'd need to go back and kind of fix that up. But really look it over. Once you are done, you have a job in front of you. You have to sign your name on this. This is really important. And all I want is your first name on the artwork itself. And the rule of thumb is up here, it says parents love signatures and dated keepsakes. Try our easy to use signature temple. Well, I don't have one of those. So what I tell everybody is to use your ruler and keep your signature an inch from the edge. Always an inch from the edge, an inch from the top. You can sneak it in anywhere. I'm gonna go ahead and put mine in right on this petal right here. And again, notice I'm using a black Sharpie, Mrs. Harris. I just want your first name. Don't worry about your last initial. So Mrs. Harris, and then put the year in there, 2020. But make sure it's an inch from all of it. So see, I'm up far enough because what happens is when they photograph it, they crop it sometimes. And if you put your name down here at the bottom, it's most likely gonna get cut off. So let's not do that. My coloring is not the best right now. I was trying to do it quickly for you, but you guys need to make sure all the white areas, because I'm not gonna see you to be able to say, hey, I need you to fix this. So please make sure you let an adult look at it, a mom, a dad, grandma, grandpa's, aunts and uncles, whoever we live with, and make sure that they look at it and go, wow, that's great. You've colored it so well. Maybe they're gonna have some suggestions for you. I want this to be yours. I want it to be unique. I want to be able to differentiate between the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. Have fun. Hi kids, don't forget when you're done with the Square One art, have your moms or dads, grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles, whoever we live with, bring it on up back to school so I can mail it in. Do your personal best work, and you guys know it goes pencil, Sharpie, color. Have a great time.